there have been two very different things with us. One is the privileged and the other is the unprivileged. We all are in one way or the other, the privileged lot. You all are sitting here. I think many of you would have joined coaching institutions also, which is quite a hefty sum of money. We can afford it, our parents could afford it, but there are many others who could not. So we are standing here not because of, we are some geniuses or we have done some extraordinary work, but because we were a bit more privileged than others. So, and this privilege puts in a lot of responsibility. It puts in a lot of onus on our shoulders that we have to give back. We have to work for that. So, respected Dr. A.R. Khan sir, my batchmates. You have already heard a lot, I guess. I was also hearing very patiently to all the 7 speakers. So I thought that, if I try to speak on the same lines about how to write good answers, probably you will find me very repetitive and very rhetorical. So instead, I just digress a bit. I'll just talk to you a bit about why to put in so much of hard work. I'll just talk a bit about that, and in the end I'll share some of my own experiences and some of my own tips or what I found useful and maybe useful for you in the examination as well. I think just few days back I was reading a newspaper, and on some second or third page there was a news item. It was a report. There's this organization called Save the Children. Okay, it's a global organization, works for the welfare of children. It had a report called Stolen Childhoods Report. So this year's report. It cited that India is having the largest number of stunted children in the world. We have around 48.7 million children who are stunted. It was saying that, among the girl child, almost, every one girl child out of 3 is stunting. And as you all know that, many of you would certainly know that stunting is a form of malnutrition. You know it? There's in a normal course of growth, when a child grows, a child is supposed to have certain weight and with respect to its age. It's supposed to have certain height with respect to its age. So by stunting we mean that the height to age ratio is below the normal. It's not what it is supposed to be. And why it happens is, if the initial 1,000 days of child's life, if it's not getting proper nourishment, if the infant is not getting proper food, proper nutrients, then the result is malnutrition, and one of the forms is stunting. And the unfortunate part is, after these 1,000 days, whatever we do, howsoever medical or other nutritional interventions we perform on the child, the result is very minimal. Okay, so whatever we have to do is supposed to be done in those initial 2 years of the child's life. So this is the reality in which we all are living and in which we all have to work. And here is a service, here is an opportunity in front of us that we can make a difference, we can make a change, we can make things better for not only ourselves but also for those who are among those in that very unfortunate bracket. So I wanted to start with this only to give you a perspective that this is simply not an examination. The examination is not important. How good or bad we do in the examination itself is not important. The important is the door which this examination opens up to. And I want all of you to keep that thing in mind. As an administrator, as an IAS officer, as a civil servant, there's so much that we can do. We are not teachers. We ideally think about teachers. We have teachers is such a great community. They do so good service to us. You are not a teacher, but again you have that ability, you have that authority with you that you can ensure that the children in the place where you work, in your particular jurisdiction, they get good education. You may not be a doctor, but you can still ensure that the people where you serve in that place, they get good medical facilities. Okay. So this is the sort of a work we do. This is the sort of the work as a civil servant is supposed to do. to make lives better. And I don't think there's any other profession which you know which would be as good. Which is here the job is social service. Here the job is work. Here the job is finding solutions to what you do. After we joined the service, we have completed some of our training in the academy. Now we are in the districts. We have an opportunity to meet so many of our very senior officers, and by knowing and by seeing the kind of work they have done over years, it's unprecedented. It's amazing. And my friends and my colleagues, they would also recall it. In an academy, we would find a civil servant who has retired. He has worked for maybe 35, 37 years, and standing on the podium and saying, I had a very difficult life as a civil servant, but if I'm given another chance, if I'm reborn and I get another life, I would want to do this again. That's the beauty of it. That's the kind of fulfillment that we all get. So keep this in mind. And also one more thing that I tell it everywhere, because that is also sort of mirror to my own life. That is, there have been two very different things with us. One is the privilege and the other is the unprivileged. We all are, in one way or the other, the privileged lot. You all are sitting here. I think many of you would have joined coaching institutions also, which is quite a hefty sum of money. We can afford it, our parents could afford it, but there are many others who could not. Okay, so we are standing here not because of we are some geniuses or we have done some extraordinary work, but because we were a bit more privileged than others. Okay, so and this privilege puts in a lot of responsibility. It puts in a lot of onus on our shoulders that we have to give back. We have to work for that. So that is the thing, and this thing should seep into your mind from day one, from today onwards. That when you start prepare it with this conviction that you're writing these questions, you're writing these exams, you're reading these books, not merely to make sure that there are 3 letters IAS at the end of your name, but because you will get this opportunity. You want to get this opportunity where you can do something better for the society, where you can contribute. Does that make any sense? I need a nod, yeah. Does it? When you after the results, we have this tendency. I also used to do it. We look at who have qualified. There are a lot of stories that come around. Go through some of the stories. This year also you might have read about the story of a lady called Khair. You have read it. So like a lady who is suffering from such a chronic disease, living in such poor conditions, so unsupportive parents, and despite odds, they come out and do so well in the examination. In our batch also, we had so many wonderful people. You might have heard of a person called Ansar Sheikh. You might have read his story. How after how much struggle, that they could do it. I also recall, at the time of my own main examination, this is sort of a favorite story. I tell it everywhere. The day I was writing my main examination, when I entered the examination hall, to the left of mine there was a seat. Normally, what you find wooden desks, benches in which you sit and you write the examination. That day I found there was on the left side, it was a moving, revolving chair that we normally find in offices, and somebody had placed a wooden, some sort of so that somebody could write on it. So I was wondering, what is this, for whom is this special chair for? When everybody settled in, everybody got in, there was this lady, she came and sat on that chair. And maybe as far as I could guess, she might have been pregnant in her 8th or 9th month. And I was looking at myself, हम लोग सोचते हैं prelims निकाल दिया and we have just reached the moon and something. This is the kind of struggle people do. Okay. So, here again, one more important point, that this is a competitive examination. At the end of the day, every year, at least 4-5 lakh people, they write the examination. They write the prelims examination. If you want to write the main examination, you have to be in that top 25,000 or so. Then if you want to get into the service of your choice, if you want to join IAS, you need to be in those 180 seats. So this is a lot of competition that we have. And another very hard fact is that, if I don't work hard, there would be 10 other people somewhere who will work much more harder than me, right? Is that right? So work very hard. Don't leave any stone unturned, and don't have regrets ever. Don't leave any space for any regret ever. कल को कभी भी ऐसा ना हो कि आप सोचो यार उस दिन थोड़ी और मेहनत की होती तो आज बहुत कुछ अच्छा होता. ठीक है? Is that fine? So that was the first part. Now a little bit. I'll also talk about the preparation. I know that most of it has been covered. Just to add to that, first of all, make your preparation as planned as possible. Okay, don't do haphazardly. I remember my younger sister. She wanted to prepare for the examination, and Tina told her, "Okay, I will tell you how to begin with." I was just looking, मैं देख रहा था इन दोनों को कि how she would, from where will she start. So Tina made her write the entire syllabus of the examination, the preliminary examination, the main examination. She didn't understand what those terms were, what those topics were, but still, after writing that, she had something in mind. No, now something is not these things are not alien to her now. She knows what the syllabus is. So syllabus forms somehow the keystone of this examination. Be very thorough, very clear with the syllabus. Mug it up, अच्छे से दिमाग में बिठा लो. Preliminary examination में कौन से topics हैं. In main examination में we have 4 GS papers, we have 2 main papers, 2 optional papers. What is there in GS1? What is there in GS2? What is there in GS3? एकदम अच्छे से दिमाग में होना चाहिए. As they were also pointing out that it's not only important, what to read is not just important. You also need to know what not to read. There's so much stuff which is there. You need to be very selective. And how is it possible to be selective? By knowing what is more important to you from the examination point of view. So there's the first part. Another part, I see the current affairs somehow forms around 50 to 60% of your preparation. Okay, so divide your time accordingly so that you prepare topics from current affairs very thoroughly and very properly. Newspaper, there's no alternative to newspapers. We have a lot of supplements, we have a lot of monthly magazines and everything coming out. They are a supplement, they help you, but the newspapers, they have very special importance. They help you understand topics, they help you understand topics in a very logical way. For example, we had GST is to be launched on 1st July. So it has been in news for quite a long time. So if you have read through the newspapers, you will understand them a bit logically. So someday when GST, somebody spoke about GST for the first time. So what is GST? So why GST? Some other person wrote an article, no, we don't need GST. It will do this, it will do that. So why not GST? So then over a period, a bill was introduced in the parliament. So what does this bill talk about? What will it do? Then bill was passed. Now it has been passed. Now what are the difficulties that have come up? There's something called GST Council. What is GST Council? What does it do? Okay. So by following a newspaper, you go through step by step through the entire process. Instead, if you start reading the magazine directly, then you have to mug it up. Okay. And in the examination, you don't have time to recall. Whatever is readily available in your mind, that's what you write down there. Okay. So read newspaper every day. It may take 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Make proper notes. What I used to do is, in case of note making, I used to make notes on loose sheets. There's a file, we call it ring file. It has 2 rings in the middle of it. And what you do is you make 2 holes in the A4 sheets and then you place those in that file. Anybody used it ever? Yes? Okay. So it helps you to make your notes a bit systematic. Okay. For example, say our Prime Minister is visiting US in the near future. So the day Prime Minister is visiting US, you find a lot of news regarding Indo-US relations. So these agreements have been signed. This is the status of the earlier agreements or which had taken place long back. So you find a lot of things written over there. After 10-15 days, maybe somebody from US comes to India, you'll find news again in the newspapers related to the very same topic. So what these loose sheets help you in is, say the first day you read something about a topic, you wrote it on one paper, okay, 1 page. Say after 10 days, after 20 days, after 1 month, something very related to that topic comes in the newspaper again, then you can write it down on another A4 sheet paper and place it next to this one. So by the end of 5 months, 6 months, you will have your notes, current affairs notes, well classified. So for India-US relations, you will have at least 6-7 pages at one place, one go. So the day you want to revise, say India-US relations, you can easily go through those 5 pages, right? Instead, if you write on usual notebooks, what you do is you will write something about India-US relations on page number 1, and then after page 40th page, you will write something other. So in order to revise Indo-US relations, you'll have to go through entire notebook, right? So try to make things easy as it goes for you. That's number 1. Another point is try to consolidate the material that you have. I was listening to Gandharva, she was also referring to it. For example, in art and culture, there are a lot of different sources, from where you can read art and culture. So try to have one basic common source from where you are reading the material, then add to it. You can attach pages, you can attach slip notes, you can write on the corners. How comfortable you feel, जैसे भी आपको अच्छा लगता है, write down there, so that whenever you have to revise, you don't have to go through everything and all those booklets and all those books again. You have to revise only that one main consolidated material that you have. Okay? Then, as everyone earlier also pointed out, answer writing is the key. Practicing questions is the key. There's a lot of mental block. Vipin was referring to it. We hesitate to write. We think that we'll write crap, we'll write something bad. But be it that you don't have to worry about it. Start writing. You will gradually improve. And the practice is key. And these test series helps a lot. It does help a lot. It really helps a lot. In fact, the entire portion in my preparation has been the test series. I have focused a lot on test series rather than regular classes. They help a lot. They help really a lot. So it would also be my advice also to you that please do join a test series wherever is comfortable to you, and write answers as much as you can. And to conclude, I'll just talk a bit about essays. It's again a very good. It's a very, very important, very scoring paper. One of our younger colleagues, he was saying that he had scored 148. It's a very good marks, very good score in essays. So what happens is that if you do good in all your papers and do bad in essay, you may be at the end of the list or maybe out of the list. Okay, but if you do good in all, then also do good in essays. Of course, you can be in a very decent and good spot. So in essays, I'll just talk about 2-3 points. Number 1 point is, the first question that while we're writing an essay that comes in front of us is on which topic to write an essay on. As you know that we have 2 questions and we have to write 2 essays. We have 5 options each. Okay, I think you should write on that topic which you understand the most. Okay, the topic is maybe a statement is written there. Sometimes these are confusing. We might have read a lot about women empowerment. There's a topic on women empowerment. We might have read a lot on it, but there's something in the topic which it doesn't click our mind. We don't understand. So I think it's better not to write on that. Instead, write on that topic in which you understand the most, because whatever you will write, that would be very much related to the topic. Because it's a write-up, you have to write around 1200, 1300 words. There's a strong tendency that to digress and to write, very haphazardly. So make sure that you understand the topic very well. Then spend some time building an outline, a boundary. So I'm going to start with this. These are going to be the main points in my essay. This is the main body. These are the areas that I'm going to talk about. These are the issues I'm going to discuss. This is how I'm going to conclude. So try to make this outline. Spend some maybe 20-30 minutes on that, and then spend the rest of the time writing it. This will make sure that you don't digress, you don't start writing something else. For example, I'll give you an example. There was this topic, social media is an important pillar of democracy. Okay, so what some of us do is we start writing first on social media. So we write 500 words on social media. Social media is this, social media is that. Then write another 400-500 words on democracy. What happens is we end up writing a write-up on social media, democracy, while the topic was effectively neither on social media nor on democracy. It was whether social media is an important pillar of democracy or not. We had to argue on that link, on that relationship. So don't miss out on the essence of the topic that is presented to you. Try to be honest to the and loyal to the topic and crux of the topic till the end of your essay. Okay, so I would not take any further time. So my best wishes to all of you. I'm sure that inshallah you will do wonderful for not only yourself and your parents, but also for all of us, for the country, and you will make us proud. Thank you so much.